It's midday, and the session today, we have Rebecca Lequeuc, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Rebecca, and Gonzalo Serrano from 21st Century Software. I'm simply going to hand it over. With the actual presentation is looking at VSE 6.3, the future of VSE, and other updates. And those of you who were listening earlier, we were sort of reminiscing the history. So I'm going to hand it over to Rebecca. All yours.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I really do appreciate that. And for those of you who are on today, thank you so much for joining us. We at 21st are very excited. We shared this with folks last year. We went to the VM workshop. We were in Mainz, and we really do appreciate you being a part of this morning. I'm Rebecca Lequeuc. I'm the president and CRO of 21st Century Software. I'm joined today with Gonzalo Serrano, who will be speaking with you a little bit later in the presentation. He'll do the lion's share, to be fair, and he's the vice president of VSE in R&D, and that means that he's the one who's helping us with all of this. So I wanted to make sure that I went through today. I went through my presentation, and I don't know why, but a speaker came on, so I apologize for that noise. So let's go today. Gonzalo's leading the slides today. So Gonzalo, next slide. Next slide. So, you know, when I talk to folks about VSE and VSEn, folks ask me, well, why are you doing this? Who is 21st? What's your experience? We get a lot of questions. So my job today is just to explain where we are, who we are, and why ZVSE became VSEn was so important to us. If you think about our vision and mission, it's about IBM Z. It's about linking the past to the future. And we talk about that. And we talk about that reinventing and revitalizing. We really believe that IBM Z is the platform to power society into the future in so many ways. VSE is an important part of that Z environment. It's truly an important piece of the Z ecosystem. And so when our mission is about enabling the platform, if our mission is about making sure that we're innovative and really make sure that we keep that customer insight as part of what we're doing, our vision and mission falls right in line with what we're doing with ZVSE and becoming VSEn. It's because our purpose is to keep the IBM Z platform strong. Next slide, please. So if you look at this, we are across the globe, and Gonzalo jumped ahead a little bit. Back it up, Gonzalo. There we go. If you think about a few things, we wanted to lay on the table, you know, VSE is an operating system. What kind of experience does 21st Century have in that? Well, in 1992, 21st Century was born, and I was one of the founding members at that time. And in 2012, we became part of TerraCloud APS. Now, who's that? Well, TerraCloud is a company that is basically a legal entity that allows us to have many different software companies, one of which is 21st. And we're the Z. And our founder really understands the Z platform for many reasons. But in terms of an operating system, we also have VMS software. And many companies understand who VMS is, run some of the largest organizations in the world as well, just like ZVSE. But then we're also future thinking. Energy machines, most people talk about being green. Our founder believes in it, not just believes in it, but does something. Energy machines is all about buildings generating, storing, and reusing their own energy. So we know that the Z platform is the greenest platform out there. We know that we have security and all these other things, but from a standpoint of what we do as an organization, TerraCloud, it's software. It's ultimately innovative software, whether it's what we're doing with VMS or what we're doing with VSE or what we're doing with energy machines. What runs the world, what runs what we do is software. So our innovative approach across all of our organizations is that software. Next slide, please. Now, where are we located? How can we support a global product like VSE, an operating system? Well, we're global. We have offices in Perth, Australia. That's where our ZOS Center of Excellence is located. We have offices in Morristown, another R&D Center of Excellence. And then VSE itself is sitting right next to the Birmingham IBM offices, right in Stuttgart, with Gonzalo, who has years of experience in VSE, at the helm. Our corporate office is in Wayne, and we have administrative offices in Boston. So we're global, and there's people supporting VSE across the globe, in the States, Germany, and Europe, and in Australia. So we've got that covered. Next slide. We also have a focus, and this focus of collaboration, communication, setting the goals, being innovative, trying to help customers maximize their value is something that we do, whether it's a ZOS-based product or a VSE. We understand that the customers are core, but we also understand that the partners are just as important, because their activities, their ability to do what maybe we can't fast enough for you is important. So we acknowledge their importance in this relationship. We also acknowledge the fact that we are partnering extremely closely with IBM. The ability to support the hardware, the ability for us to drive alongside the Z, where we are going, where IBM is taking Z, is extremely important. So it's a partnership in which everyone is vitally important. Because if the customers are going to be happy, if they're going to feel maximized, and our ultimate goal is to keep the Z platform strong, this has to be important for us. Next slide. So one of the things I speak to from a generic perspective in general is that no matter what you're doing, you have to make sure it's fit for business purpose. And sometimes we talk to customers that are a little concerned about the future of even Z, VSE. Well, we want to make sure, Bloor stated that there's 3 essential truths. Workloads must run on the most appropriate platform. VSE is an appropriate platform for the transactional processing and what you're looking to do. The security, the resiliency, it's there. The choice of the platform has to be fact-based, not fashion-based. Okay, so it's not fashionable. It doesn't have the appropriate words behind it. But the third truth is super important. And Bloor went into this a lot in that article. If you change the platform for existing workloads, the economics of the journey matter. And what they brought out was that when you go to that other platform, you have to make sure that it's significantly better than the platform you're on, that it can run the workloads, and that the journey doesn't break you on the way, doesn't cost you more than the journey, the change itself. So with VSE, we're committed to the future. And so what we want, and with ZOS, what we do there, we're committed to the future. So what we're looking for is to help you on your journey on the Z platform. Next slide, please. So this IT infrastructure that I'm so proud of, and that I'm so proud to be a part of, in and of itself is highly resilient, highly available. And that's just inherent in some of the hardware, right? Some of the storage, it's right there. Transactional processing that you have on VSE, it's significant. And let's face it, in a world in which some people just talk to it, VSE runs on a platform that is environmentally friendly. Now on the ZOS side, we get to take advantage of quantum safe and Telum chip, and that's cool. And I'm never going to say that VSE is going to be the Microsoft of the world, but we will invest and we will protect the assets that the customers have invested in. Next slide. Because how are we going to do that? And this is another question we get asked. What kind of skills do you have? Well, 21st has skills across all spectrums. We have OS and low level of application development and support. We have sysprog, storage, performance analysts, operators, so many creative people. And in another slide, I'll be introducing the team in Stuttgart that Gonzalo has assembled. It's amazing. Next slide, please. But one of the things that I think is important for everyone to understand is, why did IBM pick 21st, and what are our goals? And what's our obligation? How come this partnership is going to be sustained? How are we going to stay close to IBM? Well, one of the reasons is that's the expectations of the partnership. It's the expectation of the partnership, but we have a strong, reliable support structure. It's the expectation of the partnership that we invest in existing applications. It's the expectation of the partnership that we integrate with new technologies. It's the expectation of the partnership that we make sure it's compatible with the new hardware, and IBM works with us on that. It's the expectation of the partnership that we work on security fixes and identified risk. And our partners are helping us with this a little, and you'll see that in another slide. So we on our side have goals. We want to create a sustainable business. Isn't that one of the most important concerns of VSE? Is who's going to support it long-term as an organization? You'll see from the picture, we've got that covered. Isn't it important for us to strengthen the ecosystem, to provide a home for VSE, to ensure that customers can stay on this platform? We got that covered. Isn't it important for us to work with IBM and the partners and make sure that customers have a smooth upgrade and have more hope for the future and can have faith that we're going to be there? We got that covered. The commitment to support of this new hardware, customer focus, we got this covered too. Gonzalo, those are his goals. This is where he's driving this business, and he's doing a good job so far. Next slide. In terms of showing you what Gonzalo has pulled together, look at this team. Look at the ages. Look at their youth. Look at their vitality. They're smiling. They enjoy it. Look at the screen with the young man. He's pointed to VSEn. He enjoys this platform. We are pulling together youthful folks with mature folks, and they're learning the platform, and they're doing a fantastic job. They're highly motivated. They're mixed experience, but they're successfully whitewashing, testing the derivative product, and doing a great job in Stuttgart and across the globe. Next slide. And like everything else, it was a customer who basically said what we're doing. Customers rule, right? Mike Regan said, it's no longer pie, it's peer. There's a renaissance. And it was funny. If anybody's ever been to Chicago a long time ago, the pier didn't look so good. But there's been a renaissance on the pier, and it looks like that picture today. There's a renaissance with VSE, and it has a future. Next slide. So we can't do it alone. And let me tell you, the partners and IBM are there, and the customers are there as well. We've had our first customers come over. We're very thrilled to have them. We have an ongoing survey. The Survey Monkey's here. Go to it. Make your comments. We need to hear from you. In terms of our partners, Broadcom announced a huge enhancement to Top Secret in Mainz. CSI announced a strong COBOL for VSE. Velocity enhanced their performance recently. Kyndryl and Mainz continued their support of VSE. SVA is supporting through increased skills and knowledge, and IBM supporting 21st century in all of this pieces in terms of the upgrade of the customers. It's a true partnership between the customers, the partners, and us. Next slide. And here's some of the partners that Gonzalo works with. Next slide. So now at this point, I will turn it over to Gonzalo. As you can see, we are working towards the future, and we're excited to be a part of it. And I really appreciate your time. Are there any questions for me? Okay, Gonzalo, it's all yours.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Gonzalo Muela Serrano. As the name may suggest, I come from Spain, but I've been living in Germany since 2000. Year 2000, I started working at IBM. There has been some comments which version we all started. So my version was VSE ESA 2.6, and I was part of the launch of the 2.7 back in 2001. And then after that, I had lots of positions with the IBM. And when Rebecca called me and offered me this opportunity to drive the VSE business after this agreement with the intention to invest and to create this great team, I definitely jumped with her on the boat, and it has been a great opportunity and a great experience. So thank you again, Rebecca, for giving me this opportunity. So let's see what have we done so far and what are things that you should know about it. Here in this timeline, we are showing the different announcements, and these announcements for some customers was a surprise, for others was not a surprise, but I really want to say that it was really in agreement to make a very smooth transition with IBM. So first we started in June 2021 with announcement of the source code license agreement. The idea there was to explain the customer and the market that somebody, in this case 21st Century Software, was investing on VSE. That was a very good news. People were very happy about it. It was still not clear what was going to happen with IBM CVSE. That was also on purpose, because we didn't want the customers to panic, and IBM understood that. So IBM did not announce anything till in March, when we announced our derivative product, 21st Century Software VSEn 6.3. Then it was clear, oh, there has been doing a derivative product. It's totally compatible. It's an easy way forward. And then after that is when IBM started doing different announcements. And those announcements were first the end of marketing of IBM CVSE 6.2. Also, there was an announcement around hardware that was short after our announcement of GA. Important there in that hardware announcement, a 21st Century Software VSEn was also mentioned as supporting the hardware. That's something that has never happened before, that a third-party company is mentioned on an IBM hardware announcement. And that shows the level of partnership that we have with IBM, the level of trust that IBM has on us. And we are since then committed also to support future generations of hardware as well. So that's the reason why after that announcement, IBM announced as well that they don't intend to support future generations of hardware with CVSE, the VSE version from IBM, because 21st Century Software VSEn is going to be the one way moving forward for VSE customers. After that, there was also the announcement around end of support with a time frame for 1 year. And again, it was intended to wait with that announcement till there is something where the customers can go on an easy way with the so-called fast service upgrade that the customers know. And it should be just like a release upgrade, like has been for many years with IBM CVSE. So here I'm trying to depict that after September 2023, the way forward and the only supported VSE operating system is going to be VSEn. And again, we've been already in the market since the announcement. It was delivering in May, since May last year. There are already some customers using it. They're very happy. And we're welcoming any more customers that want to join. If you have any questions, let us know, and I will try to explain the different parts here. By the way, here in the picture, there is a symbolic mascot from VSE, the cat that also came from the customers that represent that all the lives from VSE, no matter how many intentions have been in the past to kill VSE, VSE always survives, and we want to invest. And this is why I like that we are in this track, which is new technologies, because we're trying to reinvent and reinvest here in VSE. So after that, the new first source code license agreement, it was most of the stack, but there were some things that were not there. And then we continue working with IBM, and for example, Ditto, PSF printing stack, and WebSphere and Q, they were not original in the first agreement. So we have continued working with IBM, and now we have also acquired those, and we have many already available, Ditto as well. PSF and WebSphere, we're still working, but something also very interesting to mention here. WebSphere, IBM went end of support with WebSphere in 2015. But still, there are lots of VSE customers that need this product. It's a great product for asynchronous messages communication, to communicate applications in different platforms. And the customers reacted to that although it was going to end of support, they still needed that. So that's why we are also already acquired this, and we are planning to provide this in the first quarter and to offer that in a supported way, because that's important for the customers. They run the critical infrastructure in VSE, and they need to have a supported environment for compliance risk. Since then, also, we have been enabling many more optional products. You will see here in the next slide, what do we have to offer already? So here on the left side, you see the set of IBM CVSE operating system and related software stack that is currently known by customers. On the right side is our equivalent or derivative products. Some names or some acronyms, you will be wondering what do they mean and why did we need to change it? The idea, again, was here to avoid confusion when customers are working in our version and they ask for help, which version are they using, and to avoid confusion, that's the reason why we need to change those names. Already when IBM was a part of CVSE, sometimes when asking support about kicks, there was sometimes confusion. It was kicks for ZOS or kicks for VSE. So we changed the name, for example, from KICS to OLTP, from online transaction processing. And there is here also, so you can bridge those new names. And this is, as you see, we have enabled most of the things that you need, if not all what you need or most of the customers need. There are a couple of things that we're still working out. And these are, as mentioned, the printing stack, which we acquired later on September last year. And then GDDM, and then WebSphere MQ again, which we're making great progress, and the customers that depended need support for that. So we'll be looking forward to provide it as soon as possible as well. So now that you have all this information and you might consider time to upgrade, what are the things that have changed? What do I need to plan for? So it's very important to know that a structure of the operating system has kept the same in a way that there is a base tape image and optional products for the different optional products that you license. The requirements around hardware are the same as with IBM CVSE 6.2, minimum C114 or C196. We support, of course, the C16 and are committed to support new hardware generations. And then because of this so-called whitewash, which is opposite what IBM does when they acquire something, they do blue wash. Whitewash is take away the IBM branding. So we changed some of the names of the products that were not standard names and they were trademarks from IBM. And then we also changed the names in the messages. But anything that is an API or is an executable, so where you say before exec kicks in your JCL, that is still exec kicks. We are not going to change to exec OLTP because that would be a huge change for any customer. So with that, again, we're saying we're focusing here on compatibility. We have rolled out all the PTFs and fixes that IBM did since the last version that they provided in December 2017. And we are also supporting the FSU. That's the most loved way of upgrading releases within IBM VSE. But we have taken an inhibitor that was there from IBM CVSE 5.2 to 6.1 or to 6.2. IBM did not support FSU. We have taken that inhibitor away so that if there are any customers still in IBM CVSE 5.2 with lots of optional and vendor products, and for them to do a new installation was too complicated, and that's the reason why I stayed there, and they did not upgrade to the version 6, we have taken away that inhibitor. So you can directly jump from 5.2, 6.1, or 6.2 to 6.3. Also very important, as mentioned, we're focused on compatibility. We have not changed any of the structures or of the operating system. So all the middleware from IBM that was there, and we mentioned before, the printing stack. If you want to start already with the migration or with the upgrade to 21st century software VSEn, feel free to do it. It's compatible. It will work also the middleware from IBM. So here again, I start now talking about what is to expect in the operating system. As mentioned, we're keeping the same structure as IBM had. The base image has these products like the operating system itself, which include the connectors, the host part of the connectors, then also the IBM call it KICS, we call it OLTP, Also, IBM call it VTAM, we call it VCDD. And then high-level assemblers there, the disk support, device support utilities to format your storage disk. And also what it was at IBM ERP, EREP, this here as IDRP to do the diagnostics with the IO. And then we also have, again, like IBM did, agreements with CSI and BSI to provide the two TCP/IP stacks that you are used to and you love, TCP/IP for VSEn and IPv6 for VSE. IPv6, by the way, supporting both the IPv4 and IPv6 protocols. Then we also have our extended base tape, and then we are providing the OST90 APIs, which is used by some vendors for their products to have compatibility also with COS, and the language environments double byte character support in countries where they need that support, like for languages like Kanji and traditional Chinese. And then we have also then the optional products that I mentioned as optionals here back again in this slide. If you see on the right, there's in brackets optional. Those are each of them in a separate tape that when you license, you will get access to that. So then the connectors, those are great utilities. And sometimes when we talk about the connectors, I still hear from some customers that some of them, they are not yet aware that we have them. Lots of the connectors we have already since year 2000. Some of them IBM did not support and they were provided as is. And from my point of view, that was maybe some of the reasons why the customers were not trusting on it or not deploying it or using for production. We are from the very beginning saying we want to support this. Every connector is going to be supported with the same SLAs that you have for the rest of the product. So please look at these connectors. They are great utilities. They're related to improve your productivity, simplicity working with VSE. There is Navigator. There are ways to access from any Java platform to the VSE data and processes that you have. A health checker, lots of nice things. And if you have any questions, let me know. Documentation. I'm not here testing your eye capability to read here. It's small font, but it says the VSE library. It's a huge library. And we've been prioritizing which are the books as the customer needs most at the beginning. And we will be working on the rest of the books to do the whitewashing as well. These are the books that we currently have available. And when a customer licenses VSEn, they get access to all these books. And again, most of the other things, all the books are not available. It will still pretty much work the same like with IBM. So you can still use also the IBM books. So now you see all the things that are available and you're wondering, okay, so what is the next step for me? What can I do? So the ordinary pricing, you just send an email to
Gonzalo,
yes.
there is a question in the chat from a Wendell Lovewell. The question is, when we use your FSU to upgrade VSE system with IBM products, how do we end up with 21st century products?
Very good question. So the FSU, basically what it does is all the products that are part of the base, so-called base tape image, they get automatically upgraded to our versions. So you will get a version of the operating system with 21st VSEn. And so all the things that were the operating system, kicks, VTAM, they will all be changed to be, and then VSEn, VCDD, OLTP, that goes automatically. What FSU does not do, and that's on purpose, is that all the vendor products, but also all the IBM optional products, they stay there. So the only work to do after the FSU is the optional products from IBM, for which we have derivative products, and that IBM has announced end of support. You most likely want to use our derivative products. You will need to uninstall those optional products and then install our derivative products. And that said, we are using the same libraries, the same data, so the data will stay there. It's only that the places where the binaries of these products were, it will be substituted by ours. Important is that the vendor products, if the vendor, when they have
Gonzalo, just 1 second, please. I'm sorry. There's two questions that I want to make sure are a part of this, if you don't mind. One
Sure.
is, so after an FSU, only the IBM optional products will remain. And then at the same time, if it is possible, David Austin is asking that he may have missed this, but what about DL1?
Right. So the DL1 is a very easy question. DL1, the name from DL1 in our case is HDB. because it's a hierarchical database, as mentioned here below, IBM DL1, HDB, it's already offered already since the GA date, May 2021, so 2022. So that would be DL1. DL1 was an optional product, so that would be a case where after an FSU, DL1 will still be there. So you need to uninstall DL1, but all the data that you have in your hierarchical database stays there. Then you install HDB, and you will be able to access the data the same way you did it with DL1. So back to the FSU. So again, base products, they are during the FSU disappear, and you get the derivative products from 21st century software, optional products from IBM, and vendor products from any vendor, Broadcom, McKinney, Citrix, whichever vendor you're using. They will stay there. And the good thing is that all these products, they are compatible with 21st century VSEn. If there's something that is not compatible, the vendor will let us know, and then you will upgrade before doing the FSU. And that works. And that's the beauty about FSU, that you don't need to reinstall everything, tailor everything, do backups of your data, migrate with your new installation. So that's what the customers and the vendors love, this FSU. I hope it's clear. If not, just let me know and I will be happy to follow up. So back to the ordering. We're also trying to provide a very similar experience like IBM. So we have a customer relation agreement, which is the base agreement, and then a product order license attachment where it's documented the products that you are ordering, what kind of pricing, and we get to pricing right in a moment. And then the way that is again, month-to-month license, you can cancel with 30 days to month end. So the same conditions as like IBM. Then on pricing, IBM had lots of pricing metrics depending on the hardware, if it was the high end or the mid-range, depending on the product team that was providing that. We're trying to simplify that, but often offer what IBM was offering in terms of need at the customer. Basically, we have two kinds of prices. One is full capacity, so you will be charged for the full capacity of the machine that you have. And that's interesting for customers that are close of using the full capacity and don't wanna have to send reports. And the other option is sub-capacity pricing, which we're not gonna make dependent on any hardware model. You will be able to use sub-capacity with all the hardware models that are available here at supported since the CE140. And basically, it's the same process as with IBM. You will need to send us those reports, and we will charge for the MSU consumption that you have done, and not for the full capacity of the machine. Then also around the life cycle, we plan to do releases every 2 years, and each release to have 5 years CCA. Then hosters have also the ability to have a license and provide IT services, including support and usage of VSEn. And then we have done some promotion pricing. So if you are already licensed and start paying before June, you will get extra discounts. We want the customers to have, if it helps the financial perspective to start earlier, we want to make it easy for you. Also, there were some dialogues with customers, since we are not IBM, we're a different company. When you're doing the transition to 21st century software, at the beginning, to avoid to have double billing, the usage of IBM VSE and the usage of 21st century VSEn, we're going to waive up to 3 months for when you're doing the upgrade. And if you finish earlier, then you will let us know that you are going on production, and we will start invoicing that. If you are not finished by 3 months, we will first invoice after the 3rd month. So when the 4th month starts, we will do the first invoice. I think that's helping customers to have an easy and smooth transition also from the business perspective. And by the way, then around the world, there are different business partners, and we are planning to compete with those business partners. Yes.
I'm sorry. Does the releases every 2 years apply to VSEn itself?
Yes, the VSEn itself. So like COS and CVM, they have a cadence of every 2 years. And then we want to, since we're investing in that, we want with this capability to be able to provide the customers a new release with all the fixes and new features as well every 2 years. So then the upgrade and consulting services. Around the world, there are different skills around VSE. In some areas where there are enough skills, we don't want to get into the consulting business of areas. We're very happy to point to those partners that are living of that consulting business. In areas where it might not be VSE skills and a customer needs help, we'll be willing to help and fly somebody there if you need help. As Rebecca mentioned, we have people in Germany, we have people in the US, we have people in Brazil, we have people in Australia. So if we can help anyway, we will find a way to do it. Installation considerations, as expected, it's supported on LPAR and CVM. The machine requirements I mentioned, here you see two screenshots. One where it's installed on LPAR above, and the other one when you are installing on under CVM. And then it also supports, as you know, Ficon storage, but not only IBM, but we also support Hitachi and Dell, because we as 21st century software neutral vendor, we are also testing those environments as well and partnering with them. Also, FCP and SCSI attached storage continue to be supported, and Ficon attached tape storage as well. Also, the environments have not changed. We continue to have ABC environments, requirements as well, the same. And again, as mentioned, anything that you are used to use, our expectation is that from a compatibility perspective, should be running the same way. For the case that you need any help, and this is also very important, IBM has different levels of support. In some, if you have only the premium support, you're allowed to ask questions and answers. Otherwise, in some regions, it's only error related. And before that, you need to do a cashback. We're keeping it here simple. We believe that you need the best support we can give. So we are offering the best conditions of support, all including MLC. You don't need to sign a software Excel contract or ETS plus line or something like that. That's everything included in the MLC price that you're paying. And it's a 24/7 worldwide coverage. If you have any issues, you send the issue to VSE or via telephone, and we'll be able to work on that. If there is any information to share, again, we use the infrastructure box, which is very used for lots of companies. There is a very granular access, and only the people we need to know will have access to your dams to be able to work on that. And by choice, if you have any requirements to not leave the EU frontier or the US frontiers, we will have box service as well in both regions as well. APAR and PTFs, also the same thing that you're used to with IBM CVSE. Each problem has an APAR, and when there are different components, more than one PTF, when there are different releases, more than one PTF, and all will be available via box and installed with MSHP via the IUI as you're used to. We'll be also doing RSLs as a collection of PTS for ease of use for you as well. And then a typical question, of course, that we ask is, what is our roadmap? What do we want to do? So as mentioned, once we finish enabling the rest of the VSE stack, some of the things that we get asked sometimes is, am I allowed to deploy it in VSE on a public cloud environment? So that's something that we want to work, because maybe some workloads are not so critical for customers. Maybe it's just a front end and you want that to have on the public cloud, or maybe your test environment if you want to do on public cloud. You might have heard that IBM with the WASI as a service, they're doing an IBM cloud. We are working with IBM to do something similar with VSE. And especially for us, we want to be on public clouds that have a Z infrastructure. We don't want to be on emulated mode or something like that. So that's why it's important to work with such public clouds. VSE connectors, cloud native. As you know, all these connectors, there are Java tools. And there were some of the customers already in the journey on hybrid cloud with containers, OpenSea for Rancher with SUSE. And in those cases, you might want to have just a container to deploy it and not having to take care of dependency on Java and all those things and everything as a package. We are also working to provide these VSE connectors as containers. Of course, the commitment to support the next generation of hardware, so that anytime that your lease time is sweet spot and you want to renew the lease to get better conditions with maintenance of the hardware, and you want to have support for VSE, we are committed to that. That's important that as part of this source code license agreement, we have also access to technical pre-GA information of the hardware so that we can be like the other operating systems, COS and CVM, ready to provide support and support the new hardware as well. Security enhancements, that's something also that regarding requirements or exploitation, for example, including the master key or using the master key in the Crypto Express card, that's something that VSE is not supporting right now. COS does, Linux on C as well. And that's something that we would like also to look into that as more security requirements are coming. And in general, any requirement that a customer has on VSE, please speak up. We have here via a survey. And we are also working with vendors. If they have a solution that you need a wish as well, we are in contact with them. And anything that they are providing, we're not going to plan to compete with them. We will enable any infrastructure that they need for that. But again, it's important to have this dialogue, and please speak up what are the things that you need. With that, I'm finished with the VSE part, and I will turn back to Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Gonzalo. I do appreciate everything. And I want to say publicly how much I appreciate everything you're doing. Are there any questions? And if any of you are VSE customers, we would really like to hear from you directly. Our emails are on the presentation. Gonzalo's email is in the chat. I'll place my email in right now so that you all have it. I just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be able to reach out and work with us on any question you may have. So are there any more questions?
Rebecca, it's Jeff here. I do have a question. Do you have a feel for the most popular sort of like applications are run on with your VSE customers?
We do, and I'll let Gonzalo answer that. Gonzalo?
Thank you.
Right, so the applications there, or the stack that is more usually done is Kix with VTEM, with Cobol, and then most of the customers have their homegrown applications. There are then also some vendors like FIS that have core banking applications, but I think most of the customers, they have their own homegrown applications they have developed with Cobol or with PL1, and with that they are running them. Does that answer your question? That covers, of course, online transactions and batch processing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And any more questions or comments?
Can anybody comment if you would like to the direction we're taking, at least give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, what you think of what we're doing? It's important to know.
You have my thumbs up.
Thank you. Well, it appears we have vendor neutral, so that's okay. So that's okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I'm going to bring it to a close, but before I do, I would like you all who are on to basically consider filling in the feedback form, which I've actually sent the link out. And if you don't get that once we close this session, you can go onto the agenda, get the session up, and it's at the bottom there. There's a link there. But please, it's important that you fill in the feedback, because it allows us at GSE to decide who comes and actually bring these folks back. So you're actually supporting that. The last thing I'd like to say is fantastic.
May I say one thing, Jeff? It's super important that we have the ability in the future, based upon your feedback, to come back, because we're going to do stuff. And if we don't get good feedback now, we can't tell you what we're going to do. So we really do need that feedback.
But what I would like to finish on is Rebecca, fantastic introduction. I really appreciate your introduction with the 21st century, and also the sort of overview that you gave on VSE. It's certainly come up in the world when I was dealing with it in the 80s. And you struck a nerve when you put the Navy Pier. I've had some very good times on Navy Pier, so brought a smile to my face. And Gonzalez, thank you very much for just basically walking us through with all the detail on VSE. It was really, really good. So
very happy, but we're not yet finished. There's still so much.
I do apologize. I thought you'd finished. Sorry, I'm glad you said that.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry, Gonzalo. My brain isn't 100% today. It's too early.
Right. I'll keep quiet and let's carry on. Sorry, I do apologize.
But after this, we're done, and we'll just end it when he's done.
Yeah. No, good. I will definitely not end it. I'll keep quiet and go off. Sorry.
All good. My fault. All right, so now we're moving with the COS activities that we do with 21st century software, and Rebecca is the expert on that.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, boy, it's too early. I got to get more coffee in me, everybody. All right, so some important things for everyone to know about us on the mainframes, on the ZOS side. I got to be careful on that. So For those of you that might be in ZOS, there's some real key products that we develop for IBM. One is IZBR. Please do not let the BR hold you back. We're not just batch. It's operational resiliency for all non-database managed data. What does that mean? Your sequential, your VSAM, your batch. Well, why? Don't we have homegrown stuff? Don't we run off the scheduler? Yeah, but you're modernizing your applications, but you're running your restores like you did in the 80s and the 90s. You need to automate that too. You have to run it like you do your databases. It's just as important data, right? So we do that. But as well, for all those who are looking at cyber vault and resiliency in the ransom world, it doesn't matter the hardware you're on, GDP, safeguarded copies, you need to be able to inventory all that data. You need to be able to surgically recover that data. You need to be able to understand it. Your DB2, your IMS, your PDSs, any data set, it's inventoried, it's surgically recovered. IZPCA is the product that allows you in near real time to understand your performance, your capacity, your costing. It provides a proactive, intelligent means of being able to do it. What if? One of the things I like a lot about IZPCA, it's a single source of truth. Why do I care about that? Well, it was interesting. I was talking to a member of our team who used to run performance and capacity for a large financial company. One of the things she made it very clear to me on is ICPCA allows you to have the same algorithms, the same curation, the same ability, no matter whether you're costing it out, you want performance information, or you want capacity data. It's not different products with different algorithms that might be slightly off, causing a slight distrust from a financial perspective. It's the same. Provides you that same uniqueness across all of what it's doing. That's a unique characteristic of ICPCA. TDMF is an amazing product. And most recently, we put a plug-in to ZOSMF. We're modernizing it, but it's a unique product that's been around for a long time and does something super well. Transparent application, whether it's through TCP/IP network connection or it's direct within the environment, has the VM agents and is able to really help even in DevOps. Think about it. If you're using TCP/IP, we've managed to be able to, at a volume level, if you choose to bring data to the Z Cloud for testing on WASI, or if you want to use the ZT&T boxes, we have a wizard that will allow you to do that non-disruptively. It's applications. Unique ability to use a product you probably have already in an area you never thought about. Next slide. So when we talk about IZBR and all of the things that we're doing, it's always continuous. I'm not going to read all of the different pieces on this, but what do you see? And this is what you'll see in VSE, continuous, real improvements, moving forward, doing things around. Look at this, DB2 batch recovery. What does that mean? Well, it means that if you have a corruption in DB2, you'll know all the batch jobs and all the data sets and everything downstream. Amazing technology, right? Different, solely done with IZBR. And it will continue, more to come. Next slide, please. IZPCA, when we took it on in 2017, it was not the product of the future. It's not only not the product of the future, but it does what if, and it does its work. It has the beginnings of AI, workload simulations, Windows and distributed reports. Definitely a product of the future. Next slide. TDMF and the VM agent, I already mentioned it. The ZOSMF plugin, the ability to do DevOps. We're thinking about where does it position within the ecosystem? How can you help the customers who have the product and the customers who want to use the product in the future see its value, position its value within the Z ecosystem, within their organizations, and have them best used? Next product, next slide, please. And then there's some new products within the portfolio. ZOS Change Tracker is very exciting for us. It's the ability to give change management and tracking controls and managing changes in software. You can even go so far as forcing an admin to have to give permission to check out and then check back in. It forces the auditability. It forces the tracking of all changes that are happening. So very, very much an important part of the ecosystem. It's a feature code. It is only in 2.5 and forward. It's MLC based. It's a different, right? Why? Because it's augmenting something that needs to be done and should be done by everyone. And then JCL Expert. Who wouldn't like a modern way of being able to manage their JCL checking? This has a Zoe front end, as an API into Eclipse. It was written now for a now organization with younger people in mind. Next slide. We also have within 21st the ability to do migration services around your storage, whether it's using Total Tape for your tape data or EMMZ for your disk data. We truly effectively work closely and have done thousands, and I literally mean thousands, both in the storage, in the disk, and in the tape area with these products. Next. So our sessions, our VSE, which you just listened to, back to basics, operational resiliency, all hands on deck with IZPCA, and ZOS Change Tracker. Please look for them. Please join us. We really would appreciate it. And if you miss them, load them down. They're worth the listen. The team's worked hard on them. Thank you so much. Any questions?
So in the chat, I don't see any further questions.
Do you do anything to broaden the knowledge to VSE? I don't think it is recognized as ZOS, CVM, Linux, or Windows. I'm going to leave that to Gonzalo. We're first getting a baseline, and then we're looking to see what the customer base wants, but Gonzalo can speak to that.
Right. So, and that's a very good question. IBM in the past, there were some red books, Introduction to Mainframe Basics, and there is very nice introduction about all the subsystems on VSE. And that's what, by the way, how we have used it to build up our team and the skills. And then we're planning to work on more education material. That could be YouTube videos, that could be also partnering with online skills like InterSkill or any other partner. And there is, of course, the huge library that I mentioned, but we all agree that some manuals is just for reference and not as a course. So we want to invest on that, and that's also very important. Good question.
So just a couple of, I have two questions, or 1.2, another question. In terms of these foils, have you put them on the agenda? Because if you haven't, then if you send them over to me, I'll make sure they get up within the next 10 minutes, as soon as you send them over. So
I uploaded them under my speaker profile. So fantastic. If that was the right thing to do, I think I did it right this time.
Yeah, if they're not there, I'll say that. And then the other thing is, and I should have mentioned it at the beginning, but you do get a message when you come into the chat room that this session is recorded, so you'll be able to pick it up again at a later time if you want to listen to it again.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And thank you everybody for attending.
And thank you very much for those who asked questions and supported us today. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. I was going to, and I must give you a sincere apology for my confusion earlier about.
I was confused too, Jeff. This is my fault. I should have, it was me. Yeah. Don't worry.
So are we concluded? And I want to make sure that
we are concluded. We're good.
There is one more thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Go for it, Gonzalez. Go for it.
Go for I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
I will finish on, as the people are leaving, I've noticed you've been getting some fantastic response saying really, really good, and thanking you for your presentation from some of the attendees. So you did an awesome job. So thank you very much. And on that high, I'm going to say, have a good day, or wherever you are on the planet.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
I'm going to terminate the session now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.